Hey there. If you're like most aspiring change makers that I know, then you know that creating behavior change is really difficult to do. So in this video, I'm going to share a story with you about how you can use strategic narrative to create radical behavior change at scale, before I then show you how I can help you craft your strategic narrative. This story is the strategic narrative I use to sell my consultancy services, so it serves as a pretty good example of what one of these things should look like. All right, ready? Let's dive in. Noise, competition, a rapid pace of change that no one can keep up with. These are a few elements of a new era we've entered called the maddening. Since the advent of the internet, smartphones, and social media, each of us now has the power to reach millions of people with our message. This power was supposed to bring us together and usher in a golden age of human-to-human connection. But in actuality, it's done just the opposite. Because when you put this power into the hands of 8 billion people, what you get is a lot of noise. There is so much signal, so much distraction, and so many voices clamoring for our attention that it's virtually impossible to get through to somebody, let alone motivate them to act. Which is a huge problem if you're in business. You could be selling the best solution in the world, the most game-changing technology. What you're selling could be as good as gold, but if you can't get your prospects to understand that, if you can't get them to see the value that it brings to their lives, then selling it is always going to be a struggle. And yet there are some businesses that don't seem to struggle with this. You look at what Elon Musk has been able to do with Tesla, or what Mark Benioff did with Salesforce. And then there's Apple, HubSpot, Gainsight, Zuora. Each of these companies seems to have a special something that galvanizes people into movements that reshape entire industries. If you look closely, you'll notice that special something is actually the same thing that history's greatest leaders used to galvanize their movements. That special something is story. You see, every movement starts with a CEO or leader with a belief. They communicate that belief using a powerful 5-act story structure that speaks directly to the part of the brain that drives behavior. That story then instills their belief in the hearts and minds of their employees or early adopters, who begin to echo it in sales conversations or through marketing or at conferences or Slack channels or anywhere the word of mouth is happening. The end result is this movement that grows faster and faster and faster until it takes on a life of its own. Now, of course, everybody wants that, but it's not an easy thing to do. Very few companies have managed to pull this off. For starts, when you're selling into organizations, your story has to impel a sense of urgency with several different stakeholders, each of whom might come into the sales process at different points with very different priorities. You might have one or two champions feeling a sense of urgency, but without a story that excites all the decision makers, selling is always going to be an uphill battle. Further, to build a movement and achieve this sort of growth, you need everyone at your company bought into the vision and moving in lockstep. And so crafting that right story isn't easy. You have to tie a lot of different threads together and communicate them in a very concise manner, which is a very complex endeavor. Luckily, making order out of complexity is exactly what I love to do, and is why I started StorySeer, a strategic narrative consultancy that helps visionary leaders create radical behavior change at scale. I've spent my life pursuing storytelling as a passion in a way to make a difference. My journey brought me from UCI's creative writing program into Silicon Valley as a marketing executive and consultant, where I enjoyed a lot of career success before eventually suffering from a catastrophic burnout that led to a lot of self-reflection and a lot of healing. Recently, I realized that rather than invoking Gandhi or Martin Luther King to sell B2B software, I would much rather put my skills to work helping people or helping to make the world into a more beautiful place. And so I decided to shift my focus into systems change. Over the years, I've devised a process in which we'll use William Shakespeare's 5-act story structure to align your team behind your strategic narrative, which will take the form of a speech, kind of like your version of MLK's I Have a Dream, or even Tesla's Powerwall pitch. I will also create an undesigned PowerPoint presentation, which, once designed, makes for an amazing sales deck, kind of like the one you're seeing right now. Your deck and your speech will then serve as documents that guide your messaging everywhere, whether that's sales, marketing, fundraising, recruiting, or anywhere else. Every single micro story you tell across your business will then ladder up to this one narrative. The idea is to create this compounding effect where success in each area of your business feeds into the others, thereby powering exponential growth. This is exactly what happened with Salesforce and Tesla, which is why Ben Horowitz, one of the tech industry's most renowned venture capitalists, asserts that the story is the strategy. You can have a great product, but a compelling story is what puts the company into motion. My first step is always to deeply understand your customers. What motivates them? What narratives guide their behavior? Why do they think that your solution is so important in today's day and age? Because once we understand this, we can get into the core of the process where we'll align your team behind a strategic North Star. This is the clearest, most compelling articulation of the transformation or behavior change that you're trying to create in your company. The idea is to get everyone, whether we're talking about employees, prospects, customers, investors, or whoever, moving in the same direction, trying to accomplish the same goal. I will warn you right now, this is not easy, especially if you have a highly passionate, intelligent group of leaders. But once we inevitably succeed, I'll help you with whatever wordsmithing we need to get the messaging dialed in before we enter into the activation phase where we roll the narrative out across your organization. I provide creative direction for the presentation design, as well as a host of other services to help you tell the story through marketing, on your website, in a TED Talk, or wherever. My principal objective is that in every single communication, your vision will be understood. I have accomplished this for some incredibly complex businesses that had a lot of trouble articulating why they were special, and have seen my work literally transform businesses. Seriously, when the totality of your solution is understood, it makes a massive difference and can power some seriously transformative growth. What I'm most proud of, though, is just being able to help such inspiring, heart-forward leaders be understood. Seriously, there are so many good people and so many reasons to be hopeful in our world today. And so my hope is that by empowering these visionary leaders to create behavior change at whatever scale, that I will be empowering the emergence of a more just and loving humanity, which will hasten us into an era of hope, regeneration, and peace on earth. Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in strategic narrative consulting, please get in contact with me through my website. I've included a link to my site in the description down below. And please also subscribe to my channel for more videos on how you can use storytelling to transform the world. Thanks again, much love, and take care.